Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We are your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik. Today, November 6th, 2024, NFL Trade Deadline went and passed yesterday. Week 9 was an interesting week of the NFL season. I don't think it was the best football. I think there was a lot of games where it was either sloppy play or, not good teams playing each other, like Carolina against the Saints. What was your biggest, takeaway from past week? And I'll get into what we'll talk about today shortly after Luke gives his thoughts.
It wasn't a great week. I didn't really enjoy many games. I think the best game was Monday night, Chiefs Bucks. It may have been the best game, but I do think the week set up a lot of interesting stuff for the trade deadline. Now we got 9 2-win teams, so there's a solid part of mediocrity that got firmly established. Other big trades. So I think it's just kind of a setting up week, if anything.
Yeah, I think that we're finally at the point of the year where you know what teams are contending, what teams are packing the bags and looking towards next year, and that's kind of what the trade deadline kind of unfolds for us. Is that there's teams that are selling and teams that are buying. So we're kind of seeing what teams believe that they can make a push, not only just to make the playoffs, but possibly to contend for a Super Bowl. And then there's those teams that are looking forward to 2025. You mentioned the Chiefs game. We will be talking about that game in addition to a few other games from this past week. We will also be talking about the trade deadline and how that affects teams going forward. And we'll also do a midseason review. So before the year, we gave our predictions for divisions, conferences, coach of the year, MVP, all that type of stuff. So we'll talk about that, kind of go over what we were wrong about, what we were right about. And then, of course, we'll close out the episode with what we do every week, which is our predictions for the upcoming slate of games. So let's start with our Week 9 recap, and let's talk about the game that happened last Thursday. The Texans and the Jets. Texans go to New York and fail to win. No Stephon Diggs, no Nico Collins. Tank Dell, leading receiver with over 100 yards, I believe. And the Jets, every time it seems like their backs towards the door, especially with Rodgers, they seem to come away with a win against, especially on Thursday Night Football. I think 2 of their wins were on Thursday Night Football at home.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think this game was more about the Texans than the Jets. It was a good win for the Jets coming from behind. They really played poorly in the first half. That game was really unwatchable in the first half, to be quite honest with you. I think it was 7-0 halftime. Mm-hmm. And, Mikhail Corley also dropped the touchdown before entering the end zone, which, greatly affected the first half of the game. For me, this game was more about the Texans. What say you?
I think it was about both. It proved me right about what I've been thinking about the Texans. Their offense is not clicking. Like, I don't view them as this great team. I know they don't have Nico Collins, but you're supposed to have Stroud and Tank Dell's a good receiver and Schultz is a good tight end and you have a good running game, but the offensive line cannot pass block. I don't know if Stroud's gonna stay healthy all year taking all these hits. Nico Collins, we'll see if he changes everything, but it kind of just, for me, it reaffirmed what I thought of the Texans. And then on the Jets, they should have won by more. I think that the Jets have a shot here to do something. I think it shows that they still have the potential to be like they can beat anyone on any week. But will they? Because then you're like, geez, they just screw up so many things. Like, the coaching's so bad. The roughing the punter, I believe, was one screw up.
There's also when they leverage on a field goal, which actually that actually ended up helping them out because the Texans end up missing the field goal the next time they attempted a few plays later. So that actually helped them out, but that's not gonna.
It's bad coaching. I don't know. I you got to pay attention to them, and that's basically what this win allowed them. Like, hey, they're still in the race. Because if they lose, then there's 10 2-loss teams, and they're like, hey, we lose next game, we could be like a top 5 pick after that, depending on how the next games go. So it was not a good football game, though. That was my main takeaway. Not a good football game. Not 2 very entertaining teams at this moment, as long as Nico Collins is out.
I don't really necessarily agree with you about the Jets' point about them. We've seen this before where they win a game and everybody's like,
no, I understand that.
I don't think one win for like a 1-win difference from 2 and 3 is that big of a deal, especially.
I think it keeps them in it. It keeps them in it. I think if they're 2-6, 2-7, then you could have seen
I know, but
more
as soon as
trades.
you
Or
put faith in this team, they're going to let you down.
I'm
The
not putting
reason I don't
faith in
think
them.
they're not going to do anything. Their coaching's too bad. Rodgers is still way too limited. The offensive line's not great. Now, Devontae and Garrett Wilson, you now have a really good 1-2 punch in the passing game. Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, a pretty solid running back tandem. I'm just not going to buy into the Jets at all, and I'm not going to give them a chance either.
I'm
I
not
think
buying into
there's
them.
too many. Okay, but you're saying there's a chance. I don't think there's.
Yeah, there
at
is a
all.
chance. The AFC playoff picture, the wild card is pretty weak.
That's your opinion. My opinion is I don't think they're going to do anything at all. Now for the Texans, Stroud hasn't been good this year, but I think a lot of that is the offensive line. He's been sacked 30 times, and that's only second to Deshaun Watson, who's now out for the year. He's been pressured over 40% of his dropbacks this season. For me, the main issue of the Texans is that offensive line, because I think if you give Stroud protection, he's going to be really good. But they're just, especially the interior of the offensive line, has been really bad, and they suffer. Kenyon Green's now out for significant time, if not the entire season, with the shoulder injury. The main issue for me is the offensive line, if anything, for the Texans. Defensively, I still think there's talent there. I think if Nico comes back, I think they'll patch up some of the offense. But yeah, for me, the offensive line is the thing that I believe is going to hold them back. I don't have any concerns about them winning their division. I think the Colts are the only team that could possibly steal a division away from them, and there's too many question marks at quarterback for me to believe that they'll take advantage of Texans, blemishes and all that.
No, yeah, that's a problem with the AFC South. Not good, so the Texans are fine with that. They're going to win their division, but yeah, the O-line's bad. I think that's pretty known. But I think the Colts not being good shows how the AFC playoff picture, that 7 seed, I mean, it's currently Denver, and they face the Chiefs. And I still like Denver, even though they got slaughtered, but it's open. It's open. Cincy, big game. If Cincy loses to Ravens, that sets them back. I mean, it's really, I feel good about the Chargers staying in the 5.
And the Chargers have Titans this week as well, so you probably pencil them in for a win.
Assuming Ravens take over Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh is the 5 or 6, but very interesting stuff. Also, forgot to write down Chiefs Broncos on my picks.
Let's move on to the next game. Another quarterback with poor protection, and it really feels like their last loss catapulted to another loss. It really felt like one loss turned into 2 losses. The Bears lost the Commanders 2 weeks ago on the Hail Mary play, and they got absolutely dominated in the Cardinals game. And the game, they really lost the game at the end of the first half. They were down 7-6. They forced the Cardinals to settle for a field goal. They then commit a leverage penalty, extending the Cardinals' drive, which the Cardinals end up scoring a touchdown on. And then with 12 seconds in the first half, they inexcusable 50-plus yard rushing touchdown, untouched, on a 3rd and 5. And it's like, it feels like this team has given up on Matt Eberflus and his coaching staff. It really has. Like, when you listen to teams' comments, the body language of the players, like specifically DJ Moore,
yeah,
I think he's been done with. I think he's been done with this for quite a few weeks now.
Yeah, there's just so much obvious bad coaching in the NFL, and the Bears are right up there with the Jets. At least the Jets have a win for some momentum right now. The Bears are just, it's brutal. I mean, it's like mistake after mistake. Your offensive coordinator is bad. Your defensive head coach is allowing teams to run all over you, and you're allowing the 3rd string running back for the Arizona Cardinals to run for a 50-something yard touchdown to end the half on like 3rd and 12. It's like, I would have fired them. I would have just been like, you know what? I mean, I understand maybe if you want to have Caleb to have a coach a whole rookie year and stuff, but I would have been like, yeah, I'm out, because it's a mess.
They should have fired Eberflus before the season. They should have got a new
yeah,
coach
but
in
that
there.
I mean, yeah, that's been stated. But
I think when you have a rookie quarterback, give them an offensive-minded head coach. And I've been on this for a while. I want my head coach to be an offensive guy, because if you have a defensive guy and they're really good, like for example, like D'Amico Ryans in Houston. But what's going to happen is you're going to get a really good OC, and that OC is just going to leave for head coaching job. So that's why I've always been under the sentiment of get an offensive-minded head coach. So you're not going to risk losing him to another job because these offensive coordinators are just getting hired for head coaching jobs right away as soon as they show anything. Like Ben Johnson will be gone from Detroit, and that's who Chicago should have gone after this past offseason. And it seems like, and this is kind of assuming, but reading like reports and all that, it seems like Ben Johnson wanted the Chicago job. That's kind of why he wasn't going after these other jobs this past offseason. So it seems like they could have had him if they wanted to, and they decided to keep Eberflus for another year, kind of a lame duck coach. And Shane Waldron, I think he's probably one of the worst offensive coordinators in the league, if not the worst.
Shane Waldron.
The systematics, and like they have receivers running the same area.
Yeah.
Like these play concepts, your offensive line's terrible, and you're not helping your rookie quarterback at all with these concepts.
No, it's bad. It's bad. I think that it's just. I think there's exceptions to your offensive. Like, I know Dan Campbell was a tight end, and he doesn't really have like an offense or defense. But it seems like that dude, Dan Campbell, he's going to be fine with Ben Johnson leaves.
Yeah, if you're not offensive guy, if you could set a culture like Dan Campbell
you have John Harbaugh. I think DeMeco Ryan should be fine, even though I do think that would be something interesting to look at.
I wasn't calling for his job.
Jonathan Gannon at the Cardinals is doing something pretty good. You have Dan Quinn with Washington. So I don't believe in you have to have offense guys. I think more offensive guys, defensive guys, but I think there are defensive guys. Like I didn't like the Dan Quinn head coach hire. I was wrong because you got the quarterback, and if you get a defense that can, Washington at defense, I think it's proven it's underrated, even with not much talent. And now they have Marshawn Lattimore. But back to this game, I think the Bears, they're just a mess, and we know it. But I think then look at the Cardinals. I'm not in love with them still, but you know what? They're doing some stuff, and you got to respect it. They have a very interesting game against the Jets. They could be 6-4. I think that they're doing a good job with running the ball. You got McBride and Marvin. Even Marvin's not doing a lot still, but they have something where you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, for me, going back to Bears, the Cardinals have, entering this game, they have the worst pass rush, like pressure rate in the league, and they pressured Caleb Williams 46% of his dropbacks. Like, and the thing with the Bears, they haven't even started any of their division. They haven't played any divisional games yet. Like,
that's wild.
This part of the season is where they're supposed to win their games and have a comfortable record. Like, after they were 4-2, kind of looking at schedule, Washington, I think, was beatable. Now, it kind of proved true that they could have won that game, even though I think they were thoroughly outplayed the entire game. Washington's clearly the better team, better coach team, but they had a chance at the end of the game to win. I thought the Cardinals was a winnable game. You got blown out 29-9. It wasn't particularly close at all. There wasn't any sense of life at all. The entire offensive game plan and the entire game, you never felt like their offense had any chance of moving the ball consistently. Even the first drive, it was like Caleb's kind of making plays at living. There wasn't really anything to the structure of the play calling where this can be sustainable and be successful throughout the game. Cardinals, they've won 3 straight. The previous 2 wins before this one were by 3 combined points each on the final play of the game-winning field goal. But I think they have a very winnable game this week against the Jets, and who knows? The NFC West, I think, is wide open at this point. I would still give the edge to the 49ers and the Rams, but the Cardinals are clearly in that conversation.
No, yeah, they're in the conversation, but I still don't trust them. But yeah, they're in the conversation.
Let's move to the aforementioned NFC North Lions-Packers. Rainy game, windy game. Kind of plays in the Packers' hands, you would think. Jared Goff's kind of not the best quarterback in these type of climates, but he managed the game really well. Jordan Love, another costly interception, a pick six at the end of the first half. And that's where I actually think the Packers lost this game, was on that play. Not literally lost the game, but once you throw that pick six and you give the Lions the possession to enter the second half, it kind of feels like that's too much to overcome.
No, yeah, the Lions are best team. I think this game, it's kind of simple. Rainy game. Lions haven't been great in that. And guess what? They beat a really good team, the Packers. I just think that the Lions are the best team in the NFC. I don't think that's really up for debate. I think the Packers, they had chances. So the Packers are still good. I think Jordan Love is still growing a little, where it's like Jordan Love's pretty good, but he does limit himself with bad decisions.
But these interceptions are becoming a major problem.
No,
that pick specifically, just throw in the dirt. There was no the play was already it was already blown by the the Lions pass rush. But yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
But I think that, a lot of quarterbacks have this time where they're just throwing a lot of picks. I mean, look at Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Baker's done a lot lately, and he's been really good. So I think he'll be fine. I don't really have concerns about Love, but he's thrown lots of picks, so that could hurt them this year. But, I mean, these are possibly the two best teams in the NFC. But the Lions, there's a huge gap between 1 and 2. If you want to be Packers or Eagles or Niners since they're getting McCaffrey, there's a big gap. And the Lions are at the top, and they're easy Super Bowl favorites to go in the NFC. And I really think it may just be the Niners who can beat them in the playoffs, because that's not even saying Niners are second best team, but I think the Niners may be the only team in the NFC who can do it because of McCaffrey and all their weapons.
I don't know if defensively they can stop them, but like in pertaining to this game, when Brian Branch got ejected, I kind of thought that was going to open the door for the Packers to take advantage in the passing game, because they were already running the ball actually pretty well. Josh Jacobs early on, I think the first drive took 7-8 minutes. So I thought once Brian Branch is out, that would open the door, because I think after Aiden Hutchinson, I think Brian Branch is their best defensive player.
Yeah,
you may disagree with that, but I think he was probably their best defensive player on the field on Sunday. I don't know. It's really weird with the Packers, because I feel like you rather play Lions in Green Bay, but at the same time for your offense, I feel like the Packers are more of a track team, so like turf would actually suit their offense better. So if this game was in Detroit, maybe the offense is actually way better than it was in Green Bay.
No, also Lambeau's just not. They don't dominate Lambeau. I think that's a huge misconception. They just don't.
But yeah, I think Lions. I mean, now they're 7-1. Packers are 6-3. Chicago slipping. Vikings won again, but they had a 2-game slip, and Lions are clearly going to win this division. And I had them in the Super Bowl before the year, so I kind of feel good about that pick still. But like you said, I think the NFC is Lions and then a huge gap, and you can make an argument for a bunch of teams. Right now, I don't want to look too close to the stand. Like, Eagles should be the second best team just based on talent and record-wise.
I refuse.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Their coach, Nick Sirianni, is too bad of a coach. And we're not going to talk about that game today, but I mean, some of his decisions in that game, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like he's just pressing to try to prove people wrong. And that's why you saw in the 4th and 1 play, he didn't do the tush push. He did a play action rollout. But and this is off topic, but do the Eagles realize that they have Saquon Barkley in the back? Like on 4th and 1, you don't have to do the tush push. You can run the ball to Saquon.
I still prefer Washington over the Eagles. I still do. I'd take Washington.
I totally get that just with coaching.
The talent is not the same.
My point was with the talent, they should be the second best team, but there's not.
Could you imagine Ben Johnson coaching the Eagles? Now that would be.
To be honest, I think if Chicago and the Eagles job opened up, I think he'd take the Chicago job pretty quick.
I think I'd rather take Eagles. Chicago's a mess of an organization.
Both are big markets, so you're going to face pressure in both right away. But I'd rather take Caleb than Jalen Hurts at this point.
But I'm looking at just like the organizations. They're a bad organization. The Eagles, they're a good organization. We all know that. And I'm going to take the organization and say, do you know what? I could take Jalen Hurts and bring him back to how he was a couple of years ago, and with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon, and I think I'd take Eagles.
Let's move on to the last game that we'll talk about. Monday Night Football, Chiefs, Bucks. Went to overtime. Controversial ending with the Bucks not going for 2. That was a big talking point yesterday across sports media. Chiefs offense finally, showed some sign of life. Mahomes almost throws for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Probably should have more yards if Xavier Worthy can learn how to catch along the sideline, not turn his back toward the sideline. Was this game, was there any optimism as a Chiefs fan that you take from this game?
I just scored 30 points.
I'm posing the question. I'm not saying that I don't think so, but this team's very interesting because the defense didn't play their best game, and then the offense steps up. The Chiefs always find a way to win, and right now you have the best quarterback in the league, and in crucial situations, they seem not unstoppable. But like on third down on Monday, they were 12-18 on third down.
Mm-hmm.
And Mahomes,
Mm-hmm.
his stats on third down this season have been great, and he's a great fourth quarter quarterback as well. So the Chiefs' offense isn't clicking like it has in the past, but in those crucial situations, they always find a way to succeed.
No, yeah, I think this shows that the Chiefs can now win in a shootout, even though you probably don't want to get to 40. But with Hopkins, it's like, okay, there's Mahomes, Hopkins, Kelsey. That's enough. That's enough. With the good running game with Hunt, Pacheco may come back, Hollywood Brown may come back. So I think the Chiefs, that even though this is a bad defense and a team with no receivers, the Bucs are still a good team. I do think the Chiefs have a 2-minute defensive problem, and they didn't trade for a corner with Jalen Watson out. When I saw that injury, I was like, that's an impactful injury. I remember saying that that's more impactful people would think, and I think that's true. So I do think that's a problem. I think that's a legit problem, but Chiefs are still number one team. I mean, best quarterback, Kelsey is fully back. He's good. Hopkins is going to be a stud with the Chiefs. If Worthy, I don't think Worthy's going to figure it out this year with all like the sideline stuff. But I still feel good about the. I feel good about the offense.
Yeah, and
Defense feel
Pacheco
good.
should be coming back later this month. You're
Yeah,
hoping Marquise Brown's back for the playoffs.
yeah,
If Pacheco and Marquise Brown are back in the playoffs, you basically have your team back, except, I mean, Rashee Rice is definitely better than Hopkins at this point, I would say.
yeah.
But you have Hopkins in there who's a good placeholder for Rice who won't
Mm-hmm.
be there. I mean, the Chiefs, the reason I think the Bucs should win for two, and I've heard people argue that, going for one was the right move anyways, because if you give Mahomes 4 downs and 3 timeouts with that much time, he probably inevitably gets in field goal range. But your season's on the line, you're 4-4. Your division, I think, at this point is lost because you lost both games to the Falcons, so they have that
Yeah.
tiebreaker over you. And now you're 4-5 facing the 49ers this week.
It's so dumb. It was
They
so
should have gone
dumb.
for 2 because now you're most likely going to be 4-6. I could see them upsetting the 49ers, but I mean, if I had to say right now, I'd probably say 49ers, which is kind of spoiling our picks for this week. But I think the Bucs kind of and even calling the timeout at the 1. When that initially happened, I thought the Chiefs had called the timeout.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that the Bucs, because if the Bucs, if they don't call timeout and A, they either force the Chiefs to use timeout there, or B, they just let the clock run down to 12 seconds or something, then maybe you go for 2 knowing that Mahomes is not going to have enough time to get in field goal range regardless of if you get it or not. So, I don't know. I thought the Bucs handled it pretty poorly, that situation. Chiefs offense came to life. I think that you talked about the 2-minute defense. I kind of get the concern, but I also think like when you're constantly in the way the Chiefs play is that they send a lot of blitz packages, and when you're constantly blitzing in those 2-minute drills, your defense is going to get pretty tired. So maybe they scale back on the blitzes during that time. But I'm not overly concerned. And I know the Ravens game, they gave up the 2-minute drive at the end of the game.
Even the Falcons drove down. I forgot about that. They nearly won. They were right there. The Falcons nearly won that game.
They'll figure it. To be honest, you're always going to have, or not always, but there's going to be somewhat concerns with the Chiefs. But you always have to believe that they're going to, find a way to win. So that is a concerning thing, like you said. I'm not as concerned as you are, but I totally get where you're coming from. But I think the Chiefs will ultimately figure that out. And Charles Omenihu, he'll be coming back as well. That'll be another pass rusher that they can bring in, as a rotation guy in those 2-minute situations. I'm not overly concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the number one concern right now because I think the offense is fine, the pass rush is good. I like the safeties. I think the 2-minute offense and cornerback number 2 is concerned. Back to the 2-point conversion, how dumb that is. You're giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes. I think I'm not even gonna break that down. You don't want to give the ball to Patrick Mahomes in overtime. You're putting on a coin toss, but Buck should have gone for 2. I mean, when you get a drive like that, and you probably shouldn't be in the game. Just win it, especially against an undefeated team. Patriots should have gone for 2, especially when you barely got down there and Drake may have to do a crazy play. Just go for 2. I honestly don't understand why not. Teams should you get the touchdown, you go for 2, line up 3 wide receivers tight end or 4 wide receivers. You spread out the defense, just run the ball down the middle. I don't know. I think teams don't want to do that because it's sort of like the play just gets decided so quickly if you're going to score or not on the 2-point conversion, but run the ball down the middle. The defense is spread out. They're worrying about all the little pick plays and not pick plays and stuff. I don't know. I think it's just so stupid. I think that was one of the dumbest things this entire year that Bucks didn't go for 2. And New England should have gone for 2 as well. It's just so stupid. And Todd Bowles, he was never going to go for 2. He basically said that. So he wanted to get to overtime. I think that's just an offensive coach would have gone for 2. But the defensive coach is probably thinking like, oh, we are going to be able to stop them. Defense. It's like, no, it's dumb. It's so dumb. Good for Chiefs, but that was so dumb. Even if you don't get it, like Ravens, when they would have scored, if Isaiah Likely was in week 1, they were going for 2. Easy. They were going to do it because that's an aggressive team that's trying to win a Super Bowl, try and prove
Well,
points.
you also have I agree
That's
with you overall about the point, but you also have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, so it makes it even tougher to defend that.
Baker's been making plays. Go make a play. I get that, but Baker's making plays. I trust the ball in my quarterback's hand, who's having a great year, and just let it drive without his 2 top receivers.
I was kind of thinking about this, like looking at box score and all that, and kind of watching the game in its totality. Is it Travis Kelce usage? Is it something that the Chiefs should also be concerned about, him burning out? Because he's an older player now. He had 16 targets, 14 catches. I know he's proven that he's going to be there at the end of the season playing well. But he's definitely an older player. He's definitely lost a step. I think we can all see that watching. Is his, dependency right now in the offense? Right now it's Hopkins and Kelce in the passing game. You don't really have you don't really have a dependable 3. Worthy at this point is just a fast receiver. I don't think he's that good a receiver right now. It is the dependency on Kelce also something that the Chiefs fans or Chiefs in general should kind of be looking after right now.
I think it's if he burns out, he burns out. But you're winning games. Yeah, I think it's better to get the offense going, and that's what's happening with Kelce and Hopkins. I think if he burns out, you just live with the fact that he burns out. You lost Marquise Brown, Rashee Rice. You had to trade for older Hopkins, who's good, but he's older dude, not prime DeAndre. You write it out. I think you just write it out.
Let's move on to the trade deadline recap. And there was a handful of trades that were made before yesterday's trade deadline, like a week or 2 ago. But I want to focus more on the trades that were made yesterday and kind of highlight how those, I think yesterday the clear winners were the Commanders and the Lions. Now, the Steelers made 2, I think, under the radar.
I like moves. The Steelers.
They got another pass rusher for 7th round pick. They get Mike Williams, who I think is another big play receiver.
Perfect for Russ Wilson.
But for me, Commanders gained Marshawn Lattimore, which I think they kind of overpay, maybe the wrong word. I mean, you have a really young quarterback. You have a lot of draft picks. So overpay may be the wrong word, but they did pay a premium to get Lattimore.
Yeah.
I think that's why the Chiefs didn't end up getting Lattimore. And then the Lions gains of Darius Smith. I think those 2 teams greatly improved their teams, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Lions finally have a pass rusher. Now that Aiden Hutchinson's not there. And Commanders, they've been playing really good defense for what they have, but you can still say that the secondary is a weakness. But now you get Lattimore in there, who's playing, I think, on a really affordable contract for the rest of the year. So I think those 2 teams yesterday were the clear winners. I don't know if there was a clear loser. Well, there was a clear loser, the Dallas Cowboys. But
the Panthers were a winner, is what I was about to say.
I mean, gained a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo. I mean, they gave up more for Jonathan Mingo than the Chiefs gave up for Hopkins.
I understand trading for Jonathan Mingo. Like, he's a 2nd-year player. He's a 2nd round pick. If you like them and you think they're using him wrong, go get him. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with taking your shot on Jonathan Mingo. But a 4th round pick is so stupid.
Like, have they not learned their lesson from the Trey Lance trade? They traded a 4th for Trey Lance, and a handful of running backs went after that pick.
Jalen Coker. Okay, let's look at Panthers who have had no receiving help. So Deontay obviously had more yards. Deontay had 357 yards in 7 games, and he got it going. But don't even count. Thielen has played 3 games, 109 yards. That's 12 less than Jonathan Mingo in 9 games. Jalen Coker, undrafted rookie, who I guess I had my parlay on him. It wouldn't matter if the other legs didn't hit, but I had his over on yards. He did not get it. I guess he kind of got banged up mid-game. But Jalen Coker, 6 games, 3 less games than Mingo. 101 more yards than him. Legit, 100-something more yards. Sanders, 100-something more yards. He's a rookie. Like, Mingo's bad. You give a 4th. Is just stupid for a 4th.
I think you could easily give up a 7th round pick. 7th, 6th. I mean,
maybe 5th, 6th. Even if it was a 5th, I would have been like, okay. But oh my god. But I think the Lions were definitely winners. I liked what Washington did. It allows them to play man defense more, seeing how that could help Dan Quinn. And then, I think I really like what the Steelers did. You get another receiver who's perfect. The jump ball receivers are really
the thing
perfect for
is
Russ
Mike Williams
Wilson.
and Pickens, are they too similar? I was kind of thinking about this yesterday. Like, it was a good get for what you gave up a 5th-round pick for Mike Williams. But Pickens and Williams, are they too similar in style?
I think Pickens is versatile enough where you're fine as long as he doesn't do anything stupid. He sometimes does. And I think Mike Williams is just like the second guy that's like Russell Wilson loves to throw the ball up. And who better than Mike Williams throw the ball and George Pickens throw the ball up too? So I think you're going to have times if you're facing bad corners, the Steelers may just say run the ball, chuck it deep, and see if our receivers get down to it. Because Russell Wilson, he's not the same, but he still has he throws the ball up high and lets his tall receivers get it. So I really like that move. Like the whole time I was like, Mike Williams needs to go to Chargers or Pittsburgh. And I think Chargers not doing anything, putting a lot of faith in Quentin Johnson, who is doing really well, and Ladd and Joshua. But
I think they kind of ran out. I don't think there's enough receivers available on the market where they thought it would kind of move the needle a bit. Like, I think if the Rams had lost a game or two, maybe you go after Cooper Kupp. I would have loved to see Cooper Kupp with the Chargers if the Rams didn't, like, if they were still struggling and not winning games. I thought Cooper Kupp would have been a perfect fit for that offense. Staying in LA too, I think that would have been really cool. But yeah, I think the Chargers, I would have liked to see them go after receiver. I just don't think there was anybody that they thought, any of the available receivers on the market, they just didn't think would help their team that much.
No, yeah, that's fine.
So I didn't mind them not forcing a trade. I think maybe worse it, like, I was fine with them not forcing a trade for receiver. And then Khalil Herbert went to the Bengals, which I thought
that's
I think that's just more for a Zach Moss replacement, because Zach Moss is going to be out indefinitely with a neck injury. I don't think it was to, take over Chase Brown's role or anything like that. But I think just to get another guy in the backfield. I would have also liked to see the Bengals get a pass rusher, but they didn't do that either. They need defensive help more than anything, and they don't run game either. But defensive help is what they needed.
Ravens also took a shot. I was going to say Ravens also took a shot on Tre'Davious White. See how good he is. It's fine. See how good he is. You need a corner.
That move. I saw that and I was like, okay.
We'll see. I mean, they literally gave up they swapped sevens. No, they swapped seven. So it's like that was nothing. So I think that was a good move, I'd say. But Steelers are actually like a little lower in sacks, which is kind of interesting. So Preston Smith just adds another body. I really like what the Steelers did. I really like what they did. And I like what I didn't. The only bad trade I saw, Bengals Herbert trade was just and then too much for Mingo. Everything else I thought teams did well. I think then some teams missed out, like the Chargers. I would have liked the Thielen because he's just a safe body to have. I think Thielen should have gone somewhere. I like Thielen.
Well, I guess Thielen's not even going to play. He's probably not playing this week, so maybe they were concerned about the hamstring and all that.
Maybe that's true
because he's not playing this week, and then who knows? He's been on the IR for quite some time now. So
Chiefs getting a second corner would have helped too, but that's one that I think is a miss. But you just couldn't. Marshawn Lattimore was really expensive.
Well, once the Commanders pay that high of a price, you just let them have it.
Mm-hmm. There's and good for the Saints for getting rid of some cap. Good for them. They needed.
It's about damn time, man. This has been. It's every year. It seems like.
I honestly think.
I don't know why they signed Kamara to a new deal.
Trade him.
I would trade. Those are the two players that actually opened up the most cap space by trading and moving on from them. And Saints are a terribly run team. I never thought Dennis Allen was a good coach. I think Dennis Allen has one of the lowest winning percentages.
He got fired. I think the Saints honestly. Maybe I think you can argue with them with the Browns. I know the Browns have Watson's just horrific contract, and you have to find that hurdle. But gosh, I think I'd rather be the Browns still than the Saints.
Oh no, I still rather be the Saints. Now I know you can't move off Derek. I think Derek Carr's he's making like $50+ million next year, and you can't really move off of it. I think they have one more year of Derek Carr, and he's just not a good quarterback. He's just not nice guy, but and Chris Olave's not going to be out. I think he's going to be out for quite a few weeks with another.
Oh my concussion. Gosh, yeah. Your best young talent has a concussion issue. Your next best talent is your running back who's older, who is still great. You got rid of Lattimore. I don't know. I think at least you look at the Browns and they have this nice set of talent. Where you're like, you know what, they
I
got.
don't know though. Owning a player 140 million guaranteed over the next 2 years, and you don't even know if I don't think he's even starting for them next year. And you can't for them to move off of him. I feel like you would probably have to attach a first round pick
But
to him
I think
just
they
to get
can
a
move
team.
off of him in 2 years, and so that's I think. Let me
Yeah, in
look.
2 years. That's when his contract ends. My point is, the next 2 years, it's 140 million.
Yeah,
If you
but
cut him,
what I'm
like the
saying
dead
is
cap hit is also insurmountable.
what I'm
It's
saying is, I mean, wait. So this year, you're stuck with him for 2025, 2026, and then 2027 you can get rid of him. I
that's
mean, it's still
like
not
that's
great.
another thing. They restructured his contract, which
Yeah.
I think the next 2 years there would have been like a $50 million cap hit
No,
or something
yeah.
like that, and then they restructured it, making it 73 in the next.
Like look what Denver did with Russell Wilson. They just said, "Screw it, he's gone," and that
Well,
worked out for them.
that's because he didn't have a fully guaranteed contract.
I know, but that's what the
It's completely
Browns could
different.
have done. Is what I'm saying. Is that if they didn't restructure, they could have. But I still rather be the Browns because I think it's just one more year of a terrible quarterback situation, and you have way more talent. And you know, what? If Myles Garrett wants to go, you're gonna get a buttload of picks from Myles Garrett. So I think I still rather be the Browns. Saints are.
I don't want to be either teams. Can I take
I
that
mean,
choice?
yeah, I don't want to be either. Like the number
But
3 is like the.
yeah.
I don't know who's number 3, Panthers or Jets or something.
Let's move to our mid-season review. We'll talk about the predictions we made before the year, kind of recalculate those. So in the AFC, and do you want to go by division and then conference, or do you just want to kind of get a whole picture view of each conference?
Your call. Your call. Your call.
Let's go in when we do divisions. Let's do it pretty quickly if we do, and then we'll go into conferences. So we'll start with the AFC North. I originally had the Bengals winning this division, 12-5. And to be honest, if you told me what Burrow, if you told before the year, if you told me what Burrow's stats were at this point, with the 20 touchdowns and 4 picks, I'd be pretty confident in my pick. But the Bengals have no run game and no defense, and that's basically and they've only beat bad teams. That's really been the biggest reason why they are not as good as they should be, in my opinion.
That's one of my good picks where I still pick Bengals to make the playoffs, but I said they're going to struggle because they're just not that talented. And I picked Ravens. I know Steelers are first, but I feel pretty good about that. I picked Browns second, so we don't need to talk about that. But I'll move to the East. I had Bills 1, Dolphins 2, Jets 3, Patriots 4. Doesn't look bad.
I have the bottom 2 in that division, right? Dolphins and Patriots. I fell into the Jets trap. I
did have Dolphins in the playoffs, I believe.
See, I had them.
There's a chance all my wildcard teams don't make it. Browns, Dolphins, Bengals. Browns, Dolphins, Bengals. I may miss all the wildcard.
What's crazy is that my 5 and 6 in the wildcard are actually exactly what they are right now in the AFC.
Ravens and Chargers?
Yeah, but I had Bengals at Pittsburgh winning.
And then the South, Texans, Colts, Titans, Jags.
See, mine's exactly it's Titans technically in third right now, but I have Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans, and I think that's probably how it ends up.
And then the West, Chiefs. I underrated the Chargers. I overrated the Raiders.
That was one thing I was so right about. I told you that the Raiders would trade Devontae Adams way before the trade deadline.
I thought it was going to work. It didn't.
They don't have quarterbacks.
I was kind of high on Broncos the most, even having them at 4th. I remember I was like, I still kind of like them, and I was kind of right there.
Well, I had the Broncos at 3rd at 7 and 10, and they were
I didn't write records, but I remember saying I thought Raiders, Chargers, Broncos.
I have records written down for all of these. I have the Chiefs at 13-4, which I don't know if they can get the 4 losses now. And I have Chargers at 10-7, which I think, based on their upcoming schedule, I think that's probably where they finish up. And then Chargers 7-10. And I probably overestimated the Raiders. I gave them 5 wins. I probably was too nice to them.
Yeah, probably so.
So let's go. So the AFC playoff picture right now. The So right now, let's actually look at the live standings. The live standings right now is Chiefs 1, Bills 2, is it Pittsburgh 3? It may be Pittsburgh. And then Houston 4.
Yeah.
And then the wild card spots are Baltimore, Chargers, Denver. What did you have before the season?
Chiefs 1, Ravens 2, Texans 3, Bills 4. And so, like, I still think that's a possibility, but I do think the Bills could. I would predict them to be the 2 seed. Yeah, wild card's bad. Browns 5, Dolphins 6, Bengals 7. Bengals, I do think ends up in the 7 spot, but I don't think it's like a fantastic. Like, I think they're like 50-50, 7 seed or miss the playoffs.
If they win this Thursday, which I will talk
huge
about
game.
later, but if they win Thursday, I think I would confidently have them in the wild card.
I think I did a lot.
Maybe they make a push for the division at that point if they win on Thursday too.
I don't know. You got to pass the Bengals or the Ravens and the Steelers. I don't know about that.
Steelers have a tough schedule coming up, but
we say that, but they get to face the Browns twice more.
It's true.
And then they face Bengals, and I think we could say right now they're a better team than the Bengals.
So what I had was Chiefs 1, Bengals 2, Texans 3, Jets 4. My AFC East picks are the most embarrassing ones. Jets 4, and I have Ravens as a 5, Chargers as a 6, and I had Bills at the 7. So I thought the Jets win the division, and Bills would kind of struggle with a new offense. But yeah, I'm kind of proud of my Browns pick. I know we were on opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, I gave Watson some hope. That was wrong idea. NFC, I did a lot better. And the NFC is probably my pride and joy.
I mean, I think the NFC is just kind of AFC. I screw up in the AFC East. And the AFC North. I kind of had the Bengals there as well. But NFC North. I mean, right now the first 2 look good for me. Our bet does not look good. I had the Lions at 13-4, Packers in 2nd, Bears in 3rd, and then Vikings in 4th.
So the Vikings may have been my best pick. I have Lions, Packers, then Vikings, then Bears. We'll see if Packers, Vikings. But I remember saying I could see the Packers being better than the Vikings. Like I was high on the Vikings. I'm gonna take a little victory lap. I don't think anyone was high on the Vikings. I think that if you looked at it, it's pretty obvious they were going to be good, and I think people just didn't see it. And I'm proud of that one. But yeah, so I'm feeling good on that one. NFC East, Eagles 1, but I didn't like it. Giants 2. I still think the Giants are better than their record. I think Giants are now possibly the best 2-win team. They've had a lot of close games, and they had injuries. I mean, 1 possession games, twice with Washington, once with Dallas. Pittsburgh 1 possession game. Cincy was by 10, but it was really right there. They missed a field goal. Got killed by Eagles. And got killed by Vikings, who pretty good. But yeah, and then Washington 3. James Daniels a lot better than I thought, and now I love him. And Cowboys 4 may have been a good pick there. They're a mess.
Yeah, I have Eagles. I had Eagles at 1 as well. And Commanders, I have records written down. I had them at 7-10, and they already have 7 wins. So
yeah,
definitely wrong on them. Cowboys, I was not high on Cowboys in general, but I thought this division in general was really bad. Like coming to the year, I thought it was pretty much Eagles at the top, just based on talent, but still, I don't think are well coached. Cowboys, I gave 9 wins, and I was still really low on the Cowboys. I had the Cowboys missing the playoffs, so I had the Cowboys and the Browns missing playoffs. That was probably my best 2. Or like the best package of predictions I made. But yeah, I had the Giants in last. I didn't have really any faith in them, and I think they'll probably be getting a new quarterback next season. I think they'll be moving off from John Jones. NFC South, I mean, this one I think is pretty self-explanatory. I had Falcons 1, Bucks 2. I had the Panthers 3 and the Saints 4, which right now actually looks quite plausible with how the Saints are going right now.
I predicted the Saints to have the number 1 pick. After the first 2 weeks, I thought that was dead. It has life. It has life, dear brother.
I tried telling you that the Saints have 2. I was selling so much stock.
I said, let's see. let's see. I like to be positive. I said, let's see. They lost their 2. They lost Olave for a lot of time and Rashid Shaheed, who I still think may be the most underrated receiver in football. I really like Rashid Shaheed. Yeah.
NFC West. This is an interesting conversation.
NFC
'Cause
West, I
This
don't think
division
you can
actually
say
right now is jam packed.
I don't think you can say you're right on wrong
No,
or
no, no, no. I'm
anything.
not saying it all, but I'm saying it's. I think everything's like. I think regardless of what your prediction was before the year, like anybody who made predictions, this division is wide open still.
I think Seattle's the only team who I know won't win the division.
Yeah, I mean, they have a bye week this week, and then they play San Francisco. So, and Geno Smith has never beat San Francisco. So, yeah, and it's in San Francisco as well. But
And
go ahead.
They're 0-2 in the division. Yeah, I had Niners. I had Niners, Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals. If I had to switch it now, I think Niners end up 1. I don't love the Rams still, so I think I'd put Cardinals 2, Rams 3, Seahawks 4. But it's super close right now. Just gotta let that one be.
Yeah, I had Rams 1, 49ers 2, Seattle 3, Cardinals 4. And I think Rams, with their upcoming schedule, they have a lot of winnable games. A lot of winnable games.
Man, they should have lost to Seattle. I mean,
and that defense right now, I mean, you have Verse, you have the other Florida State player, his name's slipping my mind, but the Rams have a good young defense. Fisk. And I think as long as you have Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka, and Kyron, you can kind of figure things out, especially Sean McVay. I think that I actually am still leaning towards Rams winning this division. And that's not just because I also have money on them winning the division. I also have money on the 49ers and other parlays winning the division. But I really think Rams schedule, 49ers, we'll see how McCaffrey is. I don't know if he's going to be as effective as he was when I also don't think they're going to be utilizing him. He's not going to be the workhorse back, in my opinion.
I still think they may workhorse him because they need to. I think if they're like 6-2, they'd be like, okay. But I think they may say, McCaffrey, go win us some games. I still just watching the Rams against Seattle. It's like they got lucky takeaways. They got so much stuff, and I don't know. They still have problems to me, but they do have like the 3-headed monster. So they're very weird to me. They're weird.
So NFC playoffs. So right now the standings are Lions 1, Commanders 2, Falcons 3, and then Arizona's 4 seed. And then the wild card, I believe, right now is it Packers? No, is it Vikings, Packers?
Vikings, Packers.
I don't know
No, Vikings, Philly, Green Bay.
Okay. And I think those – it's very interesting because right now, like, you have Chicago at 4-4. I don't think they make the playoffs. Rams are 4-4 on the outside looking in. San Francisco's 4-4 on the outside looking in. And you have Arizona. Like, it's going to be very interesting. I think the NFC wildcard is probably the most interesting storyline for me rest of season. Just like as a whole picture. Because, I mean, you're going to
wild card's kind of secured in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't think the wild card changes that much, but I think you have San Francisco and the Rams on the outside looking in, and if Arizona could keep up what they're doing, I think it's gonna be interesting. I wouldn't say any of those teams right now. I would confidently say are going to slip and let somebody else take the spot, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think just the NFC West and NFC East, who's gonna win? I think the NFC East, Washington Eagles. That's the most interesting part. I think if Bucks didn't have injuries, Bucks Falcons would be really interesting, but I think Falcons have it.
So before the season, I had the Lions at 1, I had the Rams at 2, I had the Falcons at 3, I had the Eagles at 4. I had the Packers at 5, the 49ers at 6, and the Bears at 7. That was my playoff picture.
Yeah, I had Lions 1. I had Falcons 2, which I still think can happen with their. I don't think Falcons are worthy of the number 2 seed, but I mean,
at this point, I think the 2 seeds probably be the winner of the NFC East. I think.
I think they may beat each other and stuff. And you look at the Falcons.
But like, if you look at the Commanders and Eagles schedules, outside of the times they play each other, they are really light schedules.
No, yeah. I still think the Falcons have a shot to 2 seed, but the Falcons are not as good as they thought, but they're doing pretty good.
They have no.
I have Niners at the 3 seed. Yeah, they didn't gain one. We didn't mention that they need.
I actually hope for betting purposes. I hope they're the 2 seed, and I may put money on the 7 seed at that time in the playoffs. I may just bet against the Falcons.
If they're the 2 seed, I mean, yeah.
Like if you tell me the 7 seed are the Packers, I would take the Packers.
Oh yeah, no, the Falcons have a good offense. Like I think Kirk Cousins working well, good running game. You need Drake London to not be too hurt, but I think the offense The offense has met my expectations. The defense has been bad. But yeah, the Niners are my 3 seed. The Eagles are my 4 seed. I had Rams, Packers, and then my glorious Vikings I had at the 7. But they probably will do better than that.
So, and we can go over like what we think happens now. We can see that really quick.
Do we want to go over our awards picks?
Well, I forgot where I wrote down my awards picks. I do remember them, I think, on top of my head. But okay, what was your Super? My Super Bowl was Chiefs Lions.
It was Chiefs Niners, and I still think that's possible. But I would pick Chiefs Lions right now.
But we can go like AFC, like so our AFC picture right now. Who do we think? How do we think now the AFC playoff pick? And we'll do both conferences.
Yeah. I would say Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Ravens 3, Texans 4. With my wild card would be Steelers at the 5, Chargers at the 6. And the 7, I'm really torn between Denver and Bengals. And I think this week is huge because after the Chiefs, Atlanta, you could be Atlanta. Raiders, you're better. Cleveland, you're better by. Colts, you're better. Chargers, interesting. But then Cincy is huge. Week 17, Cincy, Denver's huge. And it's at Cincinnati, cold weather. I'm going to take Burrow over Knicks. Even though I like Denver, I'm going to say Bengals get the 7th seed. But I mean, how many times Bengals do they still have to play Pittsburgh twice? And they play Chargers.
Yeah, and
Denver.
Their next 3 games are pretty tough. But I think if you could end up going 2-1 that stretch, because then you have Cowboys, Titans, Cleveland. Like I think
I'm switching it to Denver because I think we'll go 1-2.
I have Chiefs, Buffalo, Ravens, Texans.
Yeah, we agree.
And my wild card's going to be Pittsburgh, Chargers, Cincy.
I'm switching it to Denver, but I'm really close.
And to be honest, if Cincy wins if they win on Thursday, tomorrow night, I think they could get the 6th seed. And I think they can make a wild card push for the division, I think, as well.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to division, they'd have to really go nuts. And they're not talented. They have like 4 good players.
NFC
4 very good players, but
NFC wise, I'm gonna say Lions 1, and I think NFC is actually the more interesting conversation because I
literally think the AFC is just Denver since.
So I'm gonna say Detroit 1. I'm gonna put Eagles 2. That's gonna be my kind of out there. Their defense has actually been really good this year. Like they're top 10 in almost every category, and I know like sometimes those can be misleading, but they situationally, I think they're still like that's another team. What if they get a 2 or 3 seed? I may bet against them in a playoff game. But I think they have talent. The schedule's really light going forward. I'm gonna put Eagles 2, Atlanta 3. I'm gonna put Rams 4. I think that's how that plays out. And a wild card, I'm going to have. I think Minnesota has a really light stretch coming forward, so I think that I'm gonna have Minnesota at 5. Or actually, no, I'm gonna have the Commanders at 5. My bad. I'll have Minnesota at 6, and the Packers at 7. I think San Fran ends up missing playoffs.
You have San Fran missing the playoffs. I refuse to believe that. I have Lions at the 1. I have Washington at the 2. I think Daniels may win MVP. I think he may win MVP.
I know you don't see things you don't really see rookie. He'll win like offensive rookie of the year, but I still think
if you're the 2 seed, I think he may win it. I think MVP is a very interesting conversation, and I think that's fun. I think it could be Josh though. He hasn't won yet. Voter fatigue, even though you don't see that as much in the NFL, like the NBA has a huge voter fatigue thing. But wait, we'll get to MVP. We'll get to those. But I have Washington at 2, Atlanta at 3. I have Niners at 4. They're still the flipping Niners. 5, I have Minnesota, 6, Eagles, 7, Packers. So we're close, but I have Niners. I haven't loved what I've seen from the Rams, even though they've won 3 straight.
All right, let's go through these awards pretty quick, and then we'll make our game picks. I don't have them written down in front of me right now. I do have them memorized, though.
Okay.
What do you want to start with, MVP?
Yeah, I picked Josh Allen. I think that'd be my favorite right now, but I'm super close with him and Lamar and Daniels as a 3rd, and then Goff and Mahomes at 4 and 5th.
I had CJ Stroud. That's not happening. Didn't think the offensive line would be this bad. I thought, and I didn't like Nico getting hurt. Also, put a dent in his chances. Right now, I'll probably say Lamar. Lamar, I mean, They're 6-3, so they don't have like the best record in football, but statistically, he's been lights out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably say Lamar is an MVP right now. But yeah, CJ
I
Stroud is
think
definitely really.
I think he may be a
off the
little
charts.
more deserving than Allen, but I think voter fatigue could push Allen over because Allen hasn't won yet, and he's supposed to be top 3 quarterback, and he's gone to the Super Bowl yet, and so that's why I think he'd win. But I think he'd still be deserving, but maybe not over Lamar. And then people are gonna be like, Lamar has Derrick Henry and stuff like that.
Let's go Coach of the Year.
I had Kevin O'Connell. I still like his chances, but I mean, I think Dan Campbell's gonna win it, or Dan Quinn. I think it's gonna be one of the Dans.
Yeah, I had Jim Harbaugh for the Chargers. I don't think it's going to end up happening. I just don't think. I mean, if they get a wild card spot, I don't think it's going to be more than enough to earn that. I'll probably say Dan Quinn, especially if Commanders win the division. Probably have to give it to Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do Offensive Player of the Year.
I had Josh Allen. I had him having like this insane year, and he may win MVP, but he's not going to win Offensive Player of the Year. I think it's Henry, and I don't. Yeah, Henry's minus 150 with Saquon at plus 250. I think it's Henry.
Yeah, I had Saquon before the year. I would
That's
probably
not
say
bad
Henry.
pick.
Yeah, it'll probably be Derrick Henry.
I was wrong on Saquon, by the way.
I think Derrick Henry and Saquon have definitely had those have probably been the 2 best additions in the offseason, just like influential wise on their teams.
Yeah, not even close.
Defensive Player of the Year.
So I had Chris Jones. He's just not getting sacks. He has 3 sacks. And I love Chris Jones, but he has 3 sacks. Or does he have 3.5 now? Did they give him a sack? A half a sack? And he still gets great pressure and he's very impactful. But you need more than like 7 sacks at the end of the year to win DPOY if you're interior lineman. Yeah, he still only has 3. Karlaftis is leading the team at 4. So it's not going to be him. TJ Watt's favored at minus 135. I think it's going to be TJ Watt. That's not a great DPOY year.
No. I had Aiden Hutchinson before the year.
That he would have won if he didn't.
And injury, can't really do much about that.
He would have won.
Injury. I'll probably agree with you, TJ Watt. I mean, that team's always leaned on defense. He's clearly their best defensive player. I'll take TJ Watt.
He's not even super. He has 6.5. He's not even super high as he usually is. It's a weird year.
I'm trying to think of the other awards because I do not have them written down.
Comeback Player of the Year.
Who did I have as Comeback Player of the Year?
Do you have Rodgers?
No, I do not have Rodgers. No.
I'm just going to shoot.
Was Saquon on the list at all? No, Saquon
no.
On the list. I forgot who I had.
I picked Kyler, and he's been pretty good.
You know what? I think I had Kyler as well, now that you say it.
Kirk Cousins is probably going to win the award.
I think I had Kyler as well.
Kirk Cousins will probably win.
I would say Kirk Cousins or J.K. Dobbins. I don't know what the odds are, but I would probably say one of those 2.
Kirk Cousins is minus 105. Burrow's in second at plus 500. Dobbins plus 550. You have DeMar Hamlin at plus 950. Rodgers at plus 1,000. Kyler at plus 1,200.
Offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year. Are those the final 2?
Yeah, I definitely missed both. Jane Daniels going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I had Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right, Caleb. It's going to be Jaden.
Yeah. Then
defensive
Rookie of the Year.
I think I had Dallas Turner. I don't think he's really done much.
It's going to be
I think that's going to be Verse.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's going to be.
There's a lot of minus odds where maybe Latu. What's Latu sacks at? He's second, but he's at plus 700. What's his sacks at? Latu. He's at 2 sacks. That's going to be Verse.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our Week 10 picks. Last week, I think we both were pretty strong. I was 11-4 on money line and 10-4-1 against the spread.
I was 13-2 on money line and 10-5 against the spread.
So I believe my money line record now, if I can find it, I should have had this stuff written. I had it written down, but I moved it.
Which spread did you?
The Patriots game.
Oh, I had that. Did you tie on? I had that plus 3.5.
Oh, was it plus 3.5? Okay, then
yeah.
Just put me 10-5 then. When I wrote it down, it was 3. So if there's 3.5, then I definitely Wait, if it was 3.5, then hold
Then
on.
you're
Give me,
11-4.
yeah, give me 11-4 then. Let me update that in my document. Okay, so yeah, 11-4. Okay, I'll take the extra win against spread. I think spread's more impressive to get than money line. Sometimes money line's just all favorites. So
I'm 72, 2, and 48. So I've predicted 72 out of 132 spreads. Yeah.
I can't find. I have my record written down. And I can't find it. I know it's definitely improved. I mean, early in the year is pretty bad. Let's start with this Thursday night game. We've talked about it. Bengals at the Ravens. Ravens are -6.5 in this one.
I mean, they played close. They're just going to play close, and so 6.5 points is too much for me. So I have Cincy covering, but Ravens are better. Lamar's playing like MVP. I got Ravens winning, but Cincy covering.
Yeah, T. Higgins hasn't practiced Monday or Tuesday, or he was estimated DNP on Monday. Didn't practice yesterday. It'll be very important what he does today at practice, if at all, if he practices at all. I'm going to take the Ravens. I want to take Bengals +6.5, but T. Higgins out may affect that. But I'm gonna still take the Bengals +6.5, but Higgins being out may affect that pick.
My toughest thing with this game, I have no idea if I want to play Chase Brown in fantasy or not. I have no clue. It is very tough.
Giants at the Panthers. This is gonna be the largest. This is gonna be the last time you see the Giants fared by this much. Giants -6.
I think everyone's going to take Panthers to cover, but that Giants front, they're still very good, and the offense has still been pretty solid. So, I mean, they did pretty well against. I know the first half, Daniel Jones threw 0 yards. I think they're for like 170 in the second, and they run the ball well with Tyron Tracy. I got Giants -6. I think a lot of people are going to take Panthers to cover, especially after a win. I got Giants -6.
I'm gonna take Giants -6 as well. This is another. I always look for a letdown spot. This is definitely a letdown spot by the Panthers.
It's a trap. It's a huge trap.
I think Tyron Tracy's been really good running back for the Giants. They have a good pass rush. I think if Daniel Jones can't figure out against this defense, I don't know what defense he'll figure out against. So I'm gonna take the Giants -6 in this one. I think defense should dominate the offensive line for the Panthers. And I just don't see the Panthers generating enough offense.
A Giants player or Giants player will be in my weekly bet. I don't know if it'll be a touchdown or yards prop between Slayton, Neighbors, and Tyron Tracy, but one of them probably going to be in there.
Next game, the battle of rookie quarterbacks, the number 1 pick against the number 3 pick. Patriots at the Bears. Bears are favored by 6.
I was really considering picking Patriots to win, but the Patriots suck. Caleb Williams, even with his bad coaching, because Patriots are not well coached either. He has a lot more at his disposal than Drake May does. And so I'm pick Bears win, but I got Patriots covering.
I have Bears winning and covering. It does not feel like a comfortable pick to make because the Bears are not well coached and this team may have already quit on its head coach. But I think this Bears defense at home, Tennessee, I think, generated, 14 pressures last week against Drake May. And Tennessee's pass rush is definitely not as good as, or defense is as good as the Bears defense. I think the Bears will lean on defense in this one, and they may find some success offensively because of how bad the Patriots defense is as well. So I'm going to take the Bears -6, but picking a bad team to cover that larger spread is definitely not the most comfortable thing to do.
That's tough. Yeah.
Bills at the Colts. Bills -4. This is I don't know why the spread's this small.
I love Bills here because I think that maybe you're looking at Dolphins passed it well, and that's a division rival, and that's a Dolphins team. Like, they needed that, and it did take everything from the Bills, but I like the Bills offense. They probably should have Amari Cooper back. Josh Allen spraying the ball around great. I like Bills to cover.
Yeah, Colts defense terrible. Joe Flacco, I don't think he's going to have the same renaissance that he had last year at the Browns. I just don't think it's going to happen. Bills -4 seems like a pretty easy pick. And I think when I'm going to bet this game, I'm definitely just going to all spread to 2.5, which that's kind of what I
like that as well.
So I'll take the Bills -4.
Bills -2.5 seems good.
Falcons at the Saints. I don't know. Vegas just must not buy into the Falcons at all because the Falcons are only favored by 3.5 in this one. And the Saints trade Lattimore. You probably won't have Olave. and Derek
New
Carr's the
head
quarterback.
coach theory, though. I still like Falcons minus 3.5, but I don't love it. New head coach theory.
I'm going to take
firing head coach theory. My bad.
I'm taking Falcons minus 3.5 here. It may look like a trap. I just don't think Saints, like without Olave, I don't know. Your passing game's going to be Kamara, and that's it. So, Atlanta has no pass rush, but I don't think they'll need a pass rush in that game. I think they may just blitz the Saints from a points perspective. This could easily be a blowout. I don't know if the Saints are not going to be able to stop the Falcons either. Now, Drake London may be out, but they'll lean on Bijan, and Darnell Mooney's been really good this year. I like the Falcons in this one pretty easily. 49ers at the Buccaneers. 49ers are favored by 5.5.
Yeah, no receivers. I know Bucks are still pretty solid, but I think my boy, I've been waiting fantasy all year, is back. Christian McCaffrey. Thank the heavens he's back. If he doesn't play, I'm going to be really sad. I think big Niners game. They've had the bye. Big Niners game.
Yeah, I'll take the Niners minus 5.5 as well. I think the Bucks at this point, their season's over, and I think Monday night's loss may have been a gut punch for him. So
maybe in a little like, hey, Todd Bowles, why didn't you go for 2? Team's a little pissed as well, type of deal. I still like what Baker's doing. Yeah,
I think they're too depleted right now. They don't really have a run game. I like Bucky Irving a lot, but the run game's just not going to get going. Now, the 49ers defense is not the best. It's not a good defense this year, but I still think the Buccaneers could take advantage of that.
I think Greenlaw may be coming back in this game. I think I saw that. He may be back.
We'll see. A lot of players coming back with Achilles injuries.
He's still a really good player.
So we'll see. This one's really interesting to me.
This was
Steelers
tough.
At the Commanders. Commanders are favored by 3 in this one. Over under 45.5. So they do think this will be respectively, there will be points put up.
This took me, I think I picked it honestly while we were recording. I don't like the spread. If I were to pick the game, I'm picking money line. I'm going to just take Washington with the points because it's only 3, and I'm taking Washington. But man, I like both these teams. Taking Washington though. I'm trusting the quarterback.
It's hard for me to envision the Commanders at 8-2, and you have the Steelers coming off the bye.
No,
I'm going to Steelers win this one.
I fully get it.
Steelers win this one. This is another pick where I'm not fully on. Like I'm not like from a betting perspective, I'm not touching this game at all. Like I'm just not. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's even hard to see Steelers at 7-2. But this is their last game before the gauntlet that they have to play. So I think they're going to be super focused on this one. They're going to treat this game as a must-win because of their schedule coming up. And I know their schedule's not as tough as it appeared before the season, but there's still divisional games are always tough. You have a handful of divisional games in there. You have the Chiefs in there. So I think they're going to treat this one as a must-win, and maybe their defense gives Jan Daniels some problems because we haven't seen Daniels really struggle at all this year. There's going to be a point or a game where he kind of struggles. And I know he struggled week 1, but all the rookie quarterbacks did. But from that point on, he has not really struggled. I think this could be the game where we kind of see Jan Daniels slip a bit.
That's fair prediction. I just didn't. And that's tough.
Another game where I'm definitely going to all spread at 2.5, and I really like the line. Same exact lines to the line that from the other game that we really liked. Vikings at the Jaguars. Vikings minus 4. I don't understand this spread either. Like I don't get it.
It seems like a trap, but I like Vikings. Seems like a trap, but Vikings. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'll take Vikings as well. Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence was playing really well that last drive of the game, and then threw the hair. And I think that throw was to Dearness Johnson. They ran a running back type of fade.
I was like
in the end zone.
Trevor Lawrence keeps giving me I still think Trevor has it, and then he does something stupid like that.
It's game last season. They had a bad stretch, and then he won 7 straight games, and then they had a bad stretch at the end of the year.
No, yeah.
This game was a microcosm of that. Really bad first half. They were down 22-0, and then they surge back and make it a real game. But it's just he's too inconsistent. The coaching's bad.
A good head coach could do so much.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the head coaching hire for Jaguars may be the most important head coaching hire of the offseason.
They may have Travis Hunter. And Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas, good running backs, Evan Ingram.
And Christian Kirk at 3, because I don't think they moved off Kirk this year. Yeah, I know they tried trading him, but they can't move off him now.
Yeah.
Titans at the Chargers. I already know who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Question is about the spread. Chargers minus 7.5.
Chargers just don't score a ton, and Titans' defense is solid, and their offense has been okay. So 7.5 is a lot of points. I got Titans covering, but yeah, Chargers winning. Possible
Chargers
backdoor.
defense is quiet. It's similar to the Broncos defense. You know, I think the there's more known names on the Chargers defense than the Broncos defense. It's actually a quietly really good unit. I'm going to take the minus 7.5. I think at home they'll dominate this game defensively. You can somewhat run on the Titans defense. I like the Chargers one at home. I think I'm taking Justin Herbert over Mason Rudolph all day. Quarterback edge is clearly with the Chargers. We'll see. I still think. I mean, the Titans are saying that they want to cut back on Tony Pollard's workload. We'll see how that affects the offense. I have the Chargers to win this one. I think they may win by like 10 points. Probably feels like safe. Like for me, if I was picking my 7.5, 10 kind of feels like where they win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles at the Cowboys. Eagles minus 7.5. Probably no Dak Prescott. Dak is not going to be playing. We'll see about CeeDee Lamb. Not sure if AJ Brown's playing. A lot of key players in this one going down.
I don't even care if AJ Brown's not playing. I got the Eagles covering.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles as well. I think they're just going to run right down
their
the Cowboys'
defense
throats.
should probably get it.
Yeah. And Eagles defense has been quietly really good. We actually forgot to pick the Chiefs. We're on 3 o'clock games right now.
Yeah.
I totally because on this app it has Chiefs under my team, so they put them at the top.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to that one now. Broncos at the Chiefs. Chiefs minus 8.5. This feels like another classic take the Chiefs to win, but the team.
Yeah.
The team covered.
I'm just always going to take the team to cover against the Chiefs if it's 7 or more. I mean, Broncos got whooped by Ravens, but I think that may have been like the offense missed opportunities in the first half, and then they missed opportunities second half. And Ravens offense, it was the first team to really whoop the Broncos defense. But I still love the Broncos defense. Chiefs to win, but Broncos to cover. Bo Nix has the second most 20-plus yard plays in the NFL, by the way, from a quarterback. He's just behind Lamar.
I'll take Chiefs to win and Broncos to cover, but like I'm very interested to see this because like Cortland Sutton's the only reliable pass catching option, and you put McDuffie on him. You can't run the ball on the Chiefs. I can definitely see the Chiefs actually covering this one, but I'm going to take the Broncos cover the 8.5. Jets at the Cardinals. This actually may be quietly one of my favorite games to watch this week, just storyline based, and you don't know what's going to happen in this game. Cardinals minus 1, so it's a pick 'em.
I would not bet a dime. I have no clue. But I'm going to take the Cardinals, regrettingly, because they run the ball well and Jets don't stop the run, and that was my final choice. That was my final thing. Like, you know what? Cardinals are probably going to run the ball a lot, and Jets won't stop it. But I don't like it.
I'm going to take Cardinals as well. Jets, every time they win a game, they think all high and mighty themselves. Rodgers, I mean, they beat in the Titans, Patriots, and Houston and Houston is greatly depleted. And that's still a good win because it's a playoff team. The Jets are going to do this to you. People are going to buy into the stock, and they're going to fail. I have the Cardinals, and it's winning 4 straight games. That's also something. It's also tough to bet on Kyler, but I'm going to take Cardinals at home. Like, I think whoever's a home team in this game. Like, if Jets were at home, I'd probably take the Jets. I'm going to take Cardinals because they're solely at home. You could run the Jets, and hopefully they can lean on Trey McBride. I don't think Marvin's going to do much in this game, but I still think Jets are a well-coached team.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I'm taking Cardinals. Yeah, better coach team, Cardinals.
Lions at Texans. This is another line I absolutely love. Lions
another trap, but I'm still taking. Man, I usually don't. When I look at traps,
don't overthink this. I don't. I think
I gotta take Lions because even if Nico's back, the Lions are so good. They're so good. So I gotta take Lions, and it's gonna be in a dome, and I got Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Lions minus 3.5 as well. I think they're gonna continue this thing. The good thing for Texans is I think they'll be 6-4, but I think Colts lose again, so Colts will be 4-6, and you've already beaten the Colts. Well, I guess I actually split the season series, but I still am not going to panic in terms of Texans winning their division. I will be worried about Texans' long-term outlook of the season. I'm already kind of on that. I'm on the fence of panicking already for them.
I was early on that.
I think this game's kind of like, for me to be full on panic is how they lose this game. If they lose, if it's a blowout, then I'm probably full panicked. But if they actually compete in this one, I may have some faith growing in the Texans. And that's a Sunday night game too, so that's actually a really interesting game. Monday night game, I think we're both on the same side here, but I think this could be one where we disagree on. Dolphins at the Rams. Rams minus 2.5.
I got Dolphins, man.
Yep, we disagree.
I think that the Rams, I watched them against Seattle, and I was just like, that's not good. I think this is Tyreek Hill is finally going to go off. That's my prediction. We're getting a Tyreek Hill game. I'm interested what his over-unders are going to be. Something's off with the Rams. And I don't think the Dolphins are great, but the Dolphins showed a lot of fight against one of the top 5 teams in the league. I like Dolphins.
Dolphins have bad offensive line, bad defensive line. They're not a good defensive team. And I'm going to take Sean McVay against Mike McDaniel. I don't know how good of a coach Mike McDaniel is. I think he's a good play designer. I don't know how good of a coach he is. I'll take Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford over Tua and Mike McDaniel in this one. And I'm going to trust those two. Rams defense, pass rush has been quietly really good. These rookies are starting to find their footing in this league. We're at the midway point of the year now. I like the Rams at home. And right now, the Rams have won 3 straight games, I want to say. 2 or 3 straight games.
I don't think they're winning 4 straight.
I don't. Dolphins, they don't really instill any confidence in me. I know they played close against Bills, but like you said earlier, that's a divisional game. They now have to travel across the country to the Rams. I don't like Dolphins, like, my opinion about Tua. I don't think they should have paid him. I think like him and Dak, if Cowboys and Dolphins chose not to pay their quarterbacks this year, like they actually would not be in a bad spot, in my opinion. Because
I don't know. You probably don't get a quarterback though. Still,
I mean, Dolphins could. Like they lose again at 2-7.
Are you really going to be worse than the Saints, who'd probably draft one? Who else sucks? The Titans may draft one. The Raiders may draft one. The Giants may draft one. The Panthers, we'll see. Probably not. I think Panthers stick with Bryce. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of QB needy teams, again, like there always are. But there's only 2 quarterbacks I think are first-round picks. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams. And Dolphins are going to fall at 2-7, I think. And Rams at 5. Like, I think Rams still wins division. So that's why I think like this game, they got to win the winnable games, and it's definitely a winnable game. Mm-hmm. Anything else before we close out this week's episode?
No. I thought of a fun idea like 2 minutes ago. What if every week we pick our favorite bet for the next week?
I was kind of thinking about that. We can do that right now if you want to.
Okay, let's look real quick. Oh, I already got it. Washington plus 138 against the Eagles. Oh, that's on Thursday.
Wait, are you're saying for week 11? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for the week and ahead.
What do you have the odds? What are you on right now? FanDuel. Okay, hold on. Let me, because I'm looking at games on my Yahoo app, but I don't have the odds.
Washington. Browns plus 102 against the Saints. I kind of like that.
Hold on.
Jets are minus 198 against the Colts.
I'm not touching that.
Dolphins.
I'm not betting on a game with 2 40-year-old quarterbacks. I'm not doing.
No, yeah.
Commanders Eagles. I'm not touching. Like that one's just not. Oh, this is easy.
What?
This is actually really easy. Give me Packers minus 164 at the Bears. That one's.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That one's easy to me. I like that idea. I think we should do that because you kind of get the look ahead. And we'll see how things play out this week that could affect that. But
there's good games next week. Holy cow. Okay, next week you got...
See, I'm surprised you didn't pick like Broncos plus 100 at home against Atlanta. I'm surprised you didn't pick that one.
That's a weird one to me. But you got Chargers, Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, Falcons, Broncos, Steelers, Ravens. You got Eagles, Washington. Next week's awesome.
No, Packers to me, I think is I'm just going to take... And maybe... Well, the thing is...
Next week's a great week.
By next time we talk, awesome. And I don't think Bears lose, but let's say Bears this week win by like 2-3 points. Could Eberflus be fired?
No, you'll just wait to lose to the Packers and then fire him.
See, I think at this point though, do they stick it out with Eberflus this year? And then like he's going to be fired. He's not going to be the coach next year. But does it actually do you more harm by firing him with a rookie quarterback?
I think I think they'll stick with him.
And there's like. The one thing I worry about, it's like the Raiders. The interim guy came in, had a lot of success. What if the interim guy comes in, has a lot of success in this hypothetical, and Bears are like, the ownership's like, man, this guy, maybe we should stick with him for our future. That's another thing that I'm kind of
I think he's
worried
gone.
about the Bears. But yeah, he's gone after this year.
Next week is an insane week of football.
No, because like this past week 9 was not a good week. Like
You
even
even have,
betting
like,
wise, there wasn't a lot of.
Browns Saints that hugely impacts the draft. Colts
We'll have to see how
Jets
both
is
things look.
still Colts Jets is still very interesting. Like that's a wild card game.
Wait, do Packers have a bye week this week? Or did
Yeah.
I totally? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, off a bye.
Seahawks
Yeah.
Niners, even though I think Niners are a lot better, that's still impactful. What a good week of football.
Yeah,
Oh, the 3 o'clock.
it's
Yeah, the 3 o'clocks are there's 3 o'clock games: Chiefs, Bills, Falcons, Broncos, Niners, Seahawks.
yeah,
Good
it's interesting.
stuff.
Definitely
And too
interesting.
bad
I'm happy you
Monday
brought that up
night.
because those are.
Too bad Monday night is Texans Cowboys. That's
Texans
a real
will win
downer.
that game. But
Yeah, that's real downer.
Well, that will do it for our episode this week of the Laser Bros podcast. Make sure to like the video, subscribe. We also post our episodes on Spotify as well, so give a listen on that platform as well. But until then, we'll see you guys next week with we already kind of previewed some of our Week 11 picks already, but we'll be back next week.
Peace.